Off the Leash is off and running week 14. In the books for the Cleveland Browns, Mark Schwab, Leah, Doherty, Ashley Holder with you.
Hello.
For another big sharing program. Ladies, true, false, question of the week. Joe Flacco is the best quarterback the Cleveland Browns have had all year.
Yes. Oh, yeah. 1,000%.
Wow, that was a fast yes.
That's an easy true false. I think you just look what the Browns have been able to do with their offense. It's something we haven't seen all season. You look at the first 2 touchdowns from David Njoku. That's his first multi-touchdown game, I think, ever in his career. All the different receivers you're able to target. Now, granted, part of that was because, if everybody's on Amari, you got to kind of spread it out and give the ball to more guys. But they're just able to extend the offense in ways that they haven't before, that we didn't necessarily see with Deshaun. We definitely didn't see with DTR or PJ Walker or whoever. It's just having a guy come in there that knows what he's doing and is comfortable, and it's so evident.
Ash, you were a quick yes on that one too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you could just look at this. You could not watch the game and look at the stat line and figure that out for yourself. If you put all 4 quarterbacks in there, on paper by each other, but I mean, everything that Leah said is exactly what it is. I mean, there's really nothing else to say.
So I said true.
Yeah, but I also say this. Let's not forget, I mean, PJ has only been in the league for so long. Let's not forget that. Then on top of that, Dorian is a rookie. Deshaun, we don't even know what he's doing. Joe is a former Super Bowl MVP. Like, let's not forget, people got to put respect on Flacco's name. Like, I don't understand why people don't understand this man was Joe Flacco. Like, he wasn't some bum they just picked up off the street. He was good. Like, the man was killing it for the Ravens. As a Steelers fan, I hated that guy.
It felt like he might have been a bum for a while because he after the Ravens, he wasn't very good, but now he's good again. Here's the thing.
Why do you say that?
Go look at the wins, losses, other numbers.
But he was employed, though.
What's that?
He was employed, though.
Well, yes, he was employed. But then nobody. Here's the thing. Nobody wanted him after last year, which that's a whole other thing.
Right.
Nobody called him.
Right after the Jets
released him. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I get that, but I'm just saying it hasn't. I guess for me, I'm just like, I could maybe understand and go more towards that if he was gone for like 2 years or just a lot more time than missing out. Let me just say half a season, a little over half a season.
So I had to think about this one. I really wasn't sure because we saw Deshaun be bad and we just saw Deshaun be
some bright spots.
The Titans game was decent and a strong finish to the Raven game when he was fantastic with a broken shoulder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Flacco so far 49 of 89. Which is not any elite completion percentage. 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. These are good numbers. They're also not great numbers. However, I said yes, true on this question because we've not seen bad Joe Flacco. We've seen bad Deshaun Watson. And obviously with this conversation, you're talking about Flacco versus Watson. So I would say, Flacco's been their best guy. What does this say, by the way, about Watson? Flacco's been out about 11 months. Doesn't appear to have the rust Watson did. Now, Watson was out longer, but still 11 months is a good stretch of time.
He's also 10-something years younger than him, too.
Right.
So it shouldn't take that long to get some rust off.
Clearly, the Browns gave up significant draft capital and contract figure to get Watson. Flacco comes in off the couch and has been better. What does this say about Deshaun Watson?
I think it says he's not consistent. I think that's been the biggest thing watching Joe Flacco is his numbers weren't insane the first game we saw him in. He was consistent. He's had consistent, strong performances back-to-back weeks now. Deshaun, you didn't get now. Granted, did we even see him consistent back-to-back weeks with injuries?
But Deshaun hasn't had a consistent 4 quarters.
No.
Right. That's what.
Of
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly. Great point. So Flacco has had 2 consistent games back to back. I'm not even sure if we saw Deshaun in back to back games with injuries that we didn't even see him. But he couldn't even do consistent 4 quarters. And so I think it shows that Flacco, a guy who hadn't played in 11 months or what have you, can step in and have consistent performances. And this just means he's only going to get better too, because he had a solid performance just in his first game back.
You think so? I think it shouldn't surprise anyone, but I guess I am surprised that Kevin Stefanski went ahead and just said he's our guy going forward.
Why?
Because he is so much into this, I'm not going to say, keep everything close to the vest crap.
Yes, I get that, but after these 2 games, it kind of would be insane for you to still think that we need to go week to week.
My point is, I think they're sometimes insane with not just stating the obvious.
Yeah, I thought it was insane this past week that they wouldn't straight. Like, I thought it was insane.
I thought that was crazy, but I would give him that because Flacco's only had 1 game under his belt where he played. But now, after this game, not just saying he played well, but it's the best option that they have to even make any type of pull. And now every game matters. We can't play with this SHIT. We just can't. We can't play with it no more. We can't. DTR, understand, but you're a rookie. We're going to step up and we're going to try you another time. But it's not the time. Do y'all want to go to the playoffs? Do you want to win a game? Okay, well then put Flacco on the damn seat and let's go on.
I'm curious because they brought in DTR twice against Jacksonville?
I think it was twice.
Yeah. And it was cool because he got the first down when they really needed it too. That was a great play.
They brought him in for some big moments. So I'm curious if that's something we might sparingly see moving forward.
Well, when they need him to run, for sure, because Flacco's not going to run.
Exactly. If they're going to bring him in where they need him to get that first down, if we might see him kind of sparingly.
Because now people are going to know that too. Like, okay, if DTR comes in, what's he going to do?
The first time they brought him in, they just had him do a little short, little just handoff because it's keeping a defense honest. You think they're bringing him in, he's immediately going to run the ball just at a little handoff.
So Monday on the Zoom call, this is after they get a chance to look at the film. Kevin Stefanski, post-film, we got to look at the tape. He always said that. What do you have to say about Joe Flacco?
Joe's a pro, Mary Kay, and I hope I bond with all the players. But he's a pro in that meeting room. He's a pro on the field. Like how he works, and his teammates are getting to know him. Again, it's similar when PJ first got here. Thrust into playing. You got to get to know your teammates, and I think that's what Joe's doing a really good job of, and just being around this building and getting to know these guys. I feel like it's every guy on our team, but Joe's very authentic. He's just himself. It's not like he's trying to be anybody else. He's just being himself. I think his teammates respond to that, and he works really hard. I think you watch guys on our football team, you respect the guys that work their butts off out of practice, and we have a ton of those guys. Myles Garrett's one that sets the tempo out of practice with great effort. It's hard to not give great effort when you see a guy like Myles flying around. So I think that's a testament to the leadership on this football team.
Joe Flacco is the kind of guy that will and has command respect of everyone in that locker room as soon as he walks in. And that makes it so much easier for a guy to just come in and hit the ground running as soon as he, picks up the offense, because people know, he's not.
His resume speaks for itself.
He's not Tom Brady. He's not Peyton Manning, but he's seen things, done things, won a Super Bowl, was Super Bowl MVP, played in a lot of big games. Obviously, Ravens, only the one Super Bowl appearance with him, but a lot of playoff games. That guy's seen a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of people who do not go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So I feel like if you have one, you always have to give them respect regardless.
When I think
and someone that's played almost 20 years in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really care how much he's won. He's played 20 years.
Yeah.
Almost 20. Sorry, I'm rounding that up.
It's that veteran presence of coming in of I've been here before and I know what I'm doing, and walking in with that confidence, and people respect that. It was cracking me up though too, because he was talking about post game about how he's obviously here by himself. He's got 5 kids and a wife, and they're all back home. But it was cracking me up. They were asking if his kids care, because now they're at the age to where they understand what dad is doing. I think his oldest is like 11 or 12 or something. And he was like, no, my kids don't care about what I do for a living. He was like, dad's going to work and it is what it is. He's like, my kids are busy with their own activities and own stuff going on. He was like, they don't care what I'm out here doing. He was like, if anything, they'll criticize me after, that interception or whatever. He was like, they're the ones that keep me humble, which I think is hilarious.
Sure feels, I mean, I don't even want to phrase it that way. Sure feels like a ton would have to go wrong for this team to not make the playoffs at this point.
A lot would have to go wrong.
And I know people say, well, it's the Browns. I got that. I understand that. But it would be silly, I think, going forward right now for people to assume this is not a playoff team. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know where they go. I'm not going to say they make a run. I'm not going to say anything, but it felt like this season is over, and now it's not.
It's felt like that 5 different times, too. I thought this season would be over.
The problem is people put so much so much weight into one player. And I think that's why, right? When Chubb went down, they're like, the whole season's over. Well, why? When there's 11 guys on the field, why if one guy goes down, you feel your whole season's over? If that's what I don't care how good they are. This is not freaking Michael Jordan. This is not five people. There's 11. If you feel like your whole season is done because of this one player, well, then technically y'all really shouldn't. You know what? It deserves to be done.
I never bought that with Chubb anyway.
Yeah, I don't understand
Nobody's
why
a running back
thought
away.
Like, we're all dying now that Chubb. I just didn't. I never understood. And then the next player got hit. Now we're really done. The next one. Now we're really done. Like, Jesus, we've been done. We've been like you said, for 14 weeks. We've been done. So I just never understood why everyone jumps off a bridge so quick here.
I understood it when the quarterback went down because you watched what they did with Watson, and we had seen only one game of DTR. Realistically, you can't win with that. Right. I did not understand it with Chubb. Nobody is a running back away from winning the Super Bowl. Nobody.
And I wonder if
ever.
Part of it kind of felt like, too, was he's like the heartbeat of that team. And so maybe a sense of that kind of died when he left.
And that's fair. Yeah. That is accurate. But as far as like on the field, I mean, nobody's a running back away from the Super Bowl. No. It just doesn't work.
I feel that, but I'm just indifferent. I think like being a former athlete, we've had big players go down, and I've never felt like you sad and you whatever, but I've never been to the point where we're like, man, we suck. Like, we're down. Like, and it's basketball. And
week 2.
And there's 4 people. Like, I understand like the point of a heartbeat. I just don't understand of saying like it's over. Like, maybe it's that I just don't. From the athlete's perspective, I guess I'm just like, I've never understood that.
Browns fans are maybe used to so much disappointment.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, look, and I know
so
you too.
Or they're just dramatic.
But they've had a lot of bad things happen to them.
This starts with Cleveland sports fan and Cleveland sports fan who is a Browns fan. While they have seen good things with the Cavaliers and the Guardians, the Browns specifically, I know y'all just got here within the last year. You haven't seen how this team has destroyed. It drives me nuts too, by the way, Ashley. Some of the woe is us. I get it, but I understand why people have lived in this.
And I get that, but at the same, okay. So, and this is where you could give a take, right? Because before they went into the NFL, if you want to say you guys had technically had some type of championships, before they called it the Super Bowl, you guys technically had championships, right? So, okay, let's just say technically you guys have already won, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fine. I'm going to compare it to this is where I say, and granted, this is where if you want to call me a little biased, I really don't care. But that's where I say y'all had it just as hard as like Buffalo. Buffalo altogether has sucked. For years, and they went how many Super Bowl, how many times and lost every single one, and still hasn't seen nothing. Don't have MLB, so they ain't winning nothing there. And then hockey is god awful. Right. That team hasn't won nothing since I don't even know if UB has won something in the MAC.
Probably not.
Maybe when they were not the MAC, maybe they won. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that's where I say, like, I've learned, like, I've been comparing, seeing how it is, because it's like 2 tough cities, right, that really, really want something. And it's interesting because I've never covered that or been in that. And I feel like it's been so dramatic with every little thing that's kind of happened.
That's the way this is
where you could tell their fan base is so different from another fan base that's been through it and is dying for a championship too, just like the Browns, are too. It's interesting to see how quick, like, everyone will switch. Like they're just, you know what I mean?
The nature
but granted,
of the
if Josh Allen went down in Buffalo, I think, maybe they'd be ready to give it up all as well.
Who is the backup there? Is it still Matt Barkley or no?
Barkley's gone. Well, I don't know if he's still there now.
I don't remember. And it's not important.
About this year.
I want to talk Myles Garrett.
I like Matt Barkley, actually, by the way.
You like Matt Barkley?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I want to talk about Myles Garrett. I mean, again, instead of shut out in the stat sheet, he had 1 tackle in the stat sheet. He had a big play that did not count in the stat sheet, and that was a sack on the 2-point conversion. And that was really good to see. It still felt like it was Myles light, and you wonder how long this goes. Does he get back at some point to what he was?
Okay, question, because we were debating this on 5th quarter. A sack on a 2-point conversion doesn't count as a sack?
It's not in the box score, no.
It doesn't count as a sack.
No, it does not.
We all thought yesterday that it did. Interesting. I didn't know that it didn't count.
Doesn't count. It's a shame. I mean, because that was a critical.
Why would it not count?
Because it's I don't know. Actually, I don't remember why.
Well,
it's not considered. It's not considered an offensive play, I believe. So I don't know. So it's not considered a defensive play. I don't know. It's separate. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't.
Later.
anyone else think it was dumb that the Jags went for 2 there? I get it if you're down 2 touchdowns and you say, well, let's go for 2 and then we get another one, we kick the extra point, we win. But you're at a difference now between needing a field goal or a touchdown.
Right.
And you made it, so you have to drive the length of that seemed dumb.
I just think that they were, I don't know. The Jaguars really, that first half just felt so long.
It was long.
Yeah,
it didn't just feel like it. It was
yeah,
long.
It just felt really long. And it's funny because I was like talking to my dad and he was like, oh yeah, well they obviously did pretty good because, you know, it was 31-27. I'm like,
who did good? The Jags did
yeah,
good.
then he tried to say that. And I was like, no, I was like, I couldn't really like articulate what I was trying to say, but I was like, nah, I just feel like Trevor Lawrence was so off or whatever. And I just didn't understand
he had
I didn't understand anything that,
interceptions,
I didn't understand anything he was doing, to be honest with you. And some of those interceptions, yeah, I just thought, whoa, like, I don't know. I was just really confused by the entire game yesterday.
How come?
I just didn't understand what was happening.
It's just a weird day?
Yeah, I just think there was like, you know, there's so many injuries that were coming in and off the field. And just with the Jaguars, there were some times where I was like, why is he throwing this? And then I just was so confused. Like, you know, when Anthony Walker had, when he had the fumble.
Fumble recovery?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just certain things like no, maybe it's not that play that I'm talking about then because he recovered. It was another one. I thought that he was the one that fumbled.
He got called on. What did he get called on?
I thought it was him.
Drawing a blank. I know what you mean, though. I remember seeing how angry he was.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
I can't think of it now, but just I don't know. I just felt so out of sorts. Like,
it was sloppy. I mean,
and I feel like I would put my head down. I'd be like typing to try and update the live blog, and then I hear like, oh, and I'm like,
what?
Yeah,
what?
Like, I'm like, oh my gosh,
7 turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Between the two teams?
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a messy game.
And everyone kept slipping on that dang field.
That's what
everyone kept slipping, like just slipping.
We were talking about it in fifth quarter. I was like, you would think this was like a rain game with the amount of guys like slipping, injuries, turnovers.
The field was wet though.
Okay.
I will say that the field was wet, and towards the end it was like had that mist and stuff like that. But it was a little wet because I only paid attention because I remember the Jim Brown sign almost was muddy when I was down there, and I'm thinking, dang, why does it look like this? But then everybody was slipping up there, and that's what made me think about that.
You guys mentioned injuries. They did pick up a bad one. Dwan Jones lost for the year. This is a kid already filling in for Conklin, who was lost for the year. And Dwan was really coming fast as far as on the developmental train. I mean, this was a guy kind of drafted as a draft and develop, and then it became you're playing right away, and he's done well. Wyatt Teller, this was Monday, right?
Yep, Kevin.
Teller on losing Dwan Jones. Kevin Stefanski too, maybe?
Yep.
All right, go for it.
Got both.
Yeah, I think, I've seen Dwan make great strides on and off the field. And I think we have a great room, that offensive line room, obviously with the coaches, with the players. That's a room that is great for a young player to be in, to see how you operate, how you prepare, how you work. And I thought he got better as the season went on. So disappointed for him, but he played well in a lot of these games, and he's a young player that I think will just continue to get better.
I'm sad for Dwan. I've been praying for him. It's definitely one of those things where it's just been a crazy season. But I've said it. I kind of said it all season, but we gotta. Next man up mentality. And, I truly believe in James. And, while, I feel like they were, the refs were a little nitpicky with some of the calls. He was, he played well. We were able to, every combo I had, it was great playing next to him, pushing out on certain plays and stuff like that. He was in my, help me out and stuff like that. So, he's a great teammate, and, I believe we'll do more than just survive. I truly believe in James, and, but it's definitely sad losing Dwan.
And so that means James gets to be next man up.
Next man up. I'm shocked. Did we even hear that in any of the statements over there?
Well,
next man up?
He did. Stefanski said it, but it wasn't cut.
That's fine.
He did say, and it was funny because I remember listening to it, and I was like, oh my gosh, the emotion and the compassion that he clearly has for him. It was just so dry. It was like, yeah, man, it really sucks that he's out, but it just happens. It's next man up. I was like, well, guy's done for the season, and look at Stefanski really putting his arm around him and giving him a hug.
Well, I'm sure the stuff we don't see behind the scenes. I'm sure he is. We just don't get that.
I don't know, dude. Stefanski, I don't know. I'm just curious to who he is outside of the field.
I hear he's like a great dude and very funny.
Because he looks like he has no personality.
Did you see him celebrating after the David Bell touchdown? I was like, this is the most emotion we've seen. This is incredible. Running down the sideline cheering.
Did you see that they posted a picture of put Joe Flacco on Stefanski's face?
No.
And it was pretty much the same person.
Same guy?
Yeah.
I know a writer that knows Kevin a little bit, and he's told him, dude, you just open up a little. Just show the people a little bit of yourself. It would go so far. And that's just not who he is.
Yeah.
That's just not who he is.
Maybe he's scared.
Well, in his mind, he's probably like, why would I care? I don't care. Like, I don't need the people. I don't need the people to like me more or get to know me more. Like, I don't care. I'm here to do my job.
He feels like the way he does it works for him, and it's been working.
It prevents like drama and controversy if you're not saying,
Yeah, everybody can't be cool like McDaniels. So everybody can't get Mike, man. Wish we had a guy like that.
He's funny.
He is.
He is very funny.
I just feel like things. It's serious, but it's not wrong of just being cool sometimes and not being a complete seems like. I don't know. I'm sure maybe you have pressure where you feel like you're getting fired every day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Well, that's the thing right now. Here's what helps him. They're good. They're winning. There's no hard times there. At some point,
maybe you could just.
At some point, things are going to get a little tight.
He did crack a joke in Friday's press conference.
Kevin did?
I will say that.
Yeah, he tries to do it. It's just always so weird when he does it.
Will say that he cracked a joke on Friday because he was talking about Anthony Walker Jr. and being nominated for the Man of the Year award, and then he got the Courage Award, and the Courage Award is voted on by all of the team. And he said, something else he also battled through is he battled through DoorDash oysters when we were out in L.A., and he was like, maybe that helped influence the voting because he DoorDashed some oysters and then he got food poisoning.
Which sounds so ridiculous that you
DoorDashing oysters is a risky game. I'm gonna have to do an interview with him
because I don't understand
By the way,
why would you do that
on Tailgate?
Game. Did you like
we
it?
We ran your the one he got wrong. He should have got right.
Which one? The
trivia question was
we got Darcy wrong.
What was the first MCU movie that Nick Fury did not appear in?
Yeah, he
went with Thor: The Dark World instead of the Incredible Hulk. It was clearly the Hulk.
And he was arguing with me about that, and I was like, dude, I don't watch Marvel, so I can't help you.
Fury was not in the Hulk, and then you had to think, was he in the post-credit scene? Because they always do post-credit. He was not in the post-credit scene. That had Tony Stark talking to Thunderbolt Ross at the bar. It was clearly
So you know what?
Hulk.
You should watch the whole interview.
It was the second movie. It wasn't like it was deep into the MCU.
I only put 4 questions on there. You should actually watch the whole thing because I'm curious if you'll get it. Yeah, because there was a lot of questions. I had to cut the interview short with him because I was like, man, there was so many questions on there. And some of those words I couldn't even say, when it was Ganasha and whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't know where none of these places
are. That's the green girl, right? That's the green girl, right?
Gamora is the green girl.
No, the Ganasha is the place on the question of what we're talking. The one that I asked him, I can't remember what it was. It was because one question was Ganasha, and then answer was Ganasha, Wakanda, the quantum realm or something like that.
Quantum realm.
Yeah, it was a bunch of that stuff.
He was trapped in the
basically I was having a whole quiz with this.
It was a Marvel quiz.
Yeah, and he would ask me, he's like, "Those are true," and I'm like, I don't know. I can Google it for you. All
right, before we get out of here, I got to get your take on Mahomes. Did you guys hear this? Basically, he said
of course we heard
it's for the good of the game if the officials pick up the flag so they can score their great game-winning touchdown. I said it on Twitter. They're finally saying the quiet part out loud. They are so used to the officials saying, "Oh, it's the Chiefs. We're going to go ahead and just do things a certain way." That Kadarius Toney, who was practically lined up on the defensive line, and the flag was thrown before they made a great play. I'm sure Mahomes wouldn't have want that flag picked up or so if it would have benefited the Chiefs in some way, shape, or form. But he just said, for the good of the game, let these great players that happen to play for my team and get a big touchdown to help us win this big game pick up the flag.
It's the call, man. Just in that moment, I mean, it's not even for myself or for me. It's just I know how much everybody puts into this game, and for it to happen on a flag change the outcome of a game.
And get maybe if what he's saying is like let them play, right? Because when there's like pass interference calls that determine a game and stuff, right? There's some
That's not let them play.
Yes, there's some judgment of like, do we let them play? Not let them play with like late pass interference calls, but that was not this. I mean, I saw it was like Sunday Night Football. They had like a former or current NFL ref. I don't know who they had him interviewed, but he was like, when he is so far up that the line judge, like you can't even see.
He was forward of the ball.
But he was like, if the ref can't even see the ball, that's how far up you are, that you are blocking the ref from seeing the ball. Because then Andy Reid was like, well, you know, typically we'd get maybe a warning in that scenario. And he was like, well, first off, you're not required to give a warning. And also, if it's egregious enough that you can't even see the ball, that's how far up he is, a warning is definitely not required.
Right, or the player needed. Just taking, move your butt back.
And you can see too, like Tony didn't even turn and look at the ref and be like, hey, you know, am I like good here or whatever? Because a lot of times guys will do that too. They'll check and see, am I lined up correctly? And the other thing that bothered me too is like, because he obviously they threw the flag, you knew what he was doing, but you see him like kind of run his route, and then he just kind of like throws his arms up in the air and was like, the play's dead, whatever. And then like Kelsey threw him the ball and he was like, oh, the ball's coming my way. Okay, cool. The play is still going? Great. Okay. He had totally given up on the play.
That's who he
Put
is.
his arms up in the air, didn't care. And then like Kelsey makes an incredible play and he was like, oh, the ball's,
suddenly I'm back in it.
The ball's coming my way. But no, it was ridiculous. And I like love Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, I went to Texas Tech. I think he's incredible.
I forgot. Yeah.
And it bothered me too the way in the interaction with Josh Allen after the game.
Yes. Did you guys see that? You did. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. That bothered me because
for anyone that hasn't seen it, Pat in the quarterback handshake hug after the game said nothing other than that's the worst bleeping call I've ever seen. Yada yada yada. While he's supposed to be saying, hey, good game, good luck the rest of the way, that kind of thing, he basically told Allen, you guys got lucky.
And that bothered me because
that's trash.
I know in that moment you're seeing red, and so all you're seeing is how angry you are, and you're not really thinking about, I got to go up and shake his hand and whatever, say good game. But that bothered me because the Bills have gotten those calls that went against them, that screwed them over in Chiefs games, and Allen still walked up and showed good sportsmanship in that game.
Yeah. And Josh really isn't very good at he can trash talk a little bit, but he's not known for being like disrespectful like that. Neither is Patrick or whatever, but I get it. But I will say this, someone who's covered them for the last couple of years before coming here, the Bills, it's a tumultuous relationship with them, man, because they kept sending, and I will say at this point, us home. They continued to do that. That first one was the AFC Championship. That was a tough one. Especially when you go there and you hear what they're saying and how it was. That was pretty much how it was out behind the scenes. You just don't see it. That's how it was in the tunnel and whatnot, them chirping at each other and whatever. And then you turn around the next year, and man, the greatest game to this day that I will say that I have ever attended was when they went back and forth on the OT. And again, what happened on there? Then you have another issue. Why didn't they get a chance to go and be able to see if they could score, right? Then that's when you change the OT and everything rule. So again, it's been continuous stuff that has happened with them over the years. So I just think there's I think they just know deep down, those two can very much see each other again when it comes down the line. And I just feel like I don't think it just stems from one game.
No.
And half the stuff they get, again, the Chiefs get a bunch of freaking calls. And they've gotten, they also get a bunch of calls against the Bills. If you really watch, they get so many calls towards them they play that team.
You talk to the Bengals people about last year's AFC Championship game when the Chiefs were awarded a 5th down because they just didn't convert on the 3rd. And, after they run the 4th, we're just going to go ahead and pretend that play didn't exist. I mean, don't even get me started as somebody who's followed the Bengals since 1981 when I was 7 years old.
And it was interesting, too, because Mahomes had said,
7 years old,
how about that?
And
I don't think I wasn't expecting to hear some business on that one.
I was only saying that because you rolled over it. Go ahead.
But he was like, in my all the years I've been in the NFL, he said, I've never had a call like that against us. I've never seen something like that before. And I was like, because you haven't.
Right. You're the one that gets it.
The rest of the league has, but you haven't.
That's because they're usually saying, how can we help? How can we help, Patrick?
And
but that's what happens in the game, though. I mean, you have these powerhouses that they're good for a good while. Not saying that they won't be good for a lot longer, but they are. Right now, they're on the up and up, and they're a powerhouse, and they will continue that way until refs start favoring. I mean, if you go back and you watch, what was the thing on Flagrant Foul on Untold? If you watch that on Netflix, the guy literally says, the ref says, the league told them, you do not call fouls on Michael Jordan. I mean, if the league is literally coming down and telling you, they said that is exactly what the ref said. Yeah. So they went into it because Michael Jordan had to have a conversation with the ref and was like, you don't call that on me.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I believe that those things exactly still happen in the NFL and in every sport. And I still believe that exactly what that guy in Flagrant Foul was doing was betting. I still believe that happens to that day.
If you were a fan of any team in the Eastern Conference in the NBA in the 90s, you know that to be true.
It's a fact. It's a fact that the league was behind him. We do not do anything against Michael Jordan. That's just what it is.
Not only did they not call fouls on Michael, they were going to call a foul on you if you looked at him wrong and he drove the lane. Absolutely. It was, I mean, the guy was already an enormous talent. Now we're about to wrap the show, so we're pretty far afield again. But I'm just gonna, now that you picked this, I gotta bitch.
Yeah, I mean,
this was annoying.
Serious.
This
That's
guy
what
already
had complain about that they were calling everything on him, but they weren't calling it on certain players.
Yep.
And it's the facts, and that just is what it is.
You knew when you played the Bulls,
LeBron
they had the best player in the world. Yep, the best player in the world, really good team, really good coach, and if hell or high water, if there was any way the officials were going to take it from you, they were going to take it from you.
Now he's sending himself out with music. Okay, something also that
Get in there.
Why does he always do that? When he's like, oh, I'm ready. I'm going to end with mine. And
we ended on Leah last week.
He'll play the music on any of us, Ashley.
He'll start drowning you out and bringing it up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm back. What I thought was interesting, too, was that apparently there's been more of an emphasis this year on offensive offsides, that it's already been called like 11 times. And apparently last season it was only called 2 or 3, because that was something that Andy Reid was saying, too, is like, this hasn't been called much before. Apparently they're putting more of an emphasis on it, and it should have been called. It was egregious. And I also, too, like, where's the ownership from, like, Mahomes and Andy Reid, who's like a champion and has been around the block a few times? Like, come on, you know, it's your dude on that one. Like,
yeah, man. Shout out to the refs. When they came onto the field yesterday, everyone booed them, and the refs gotten together in the corner and just like took a bow. And I was like, that's amazing.
Brittany Mahomes posted a photo of
the refs at Jaguars and Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So they did, yeah.
Brittany Mahomes posted a photo of the ref last night and said MVP.
I mean, Brittany Mahomes knows nothing, so.
Am I okay to pop this up right now?
That's all we got, folks.
Brittany Mahomes knows nothing.
That's all we got, folks.